Welcome everyone to my channel. My name is Jacqueline, and today I'm going to be giving you 5 simple steps to raising your vibration. Okay, so let's just get right into it. So, if you're on the spiritual path, you are most likely very aware that we are energy beings and that the universe actually responds to our energy. So, with that being said, it's very important that we become really aware of our emotions and that we start to cleanse our energy field. Okay? So, there are many different ways we can do this. There's infinite number of ways that we can actually raise our frequency. But today I'm just going to give you a few simple ways to do that so that you can move out of the lower frequencies into a higher vibrational state. And so the reason why this is so vital to your well being and to your growth and to you manifesting the life that you want is because it is virtually impossible to attract the most incredible life that you desire from low frequency energy. And if that is your default, right? If let's just say anger is your default mechanism and you feel anger frequently throughout the day, that becomes like your default vibration. And the universe is going to reflect back to you circumstances, people, places, and things that will make you angry, that will be a reflection of how you feel internally. Okay, so that's just one example. Anger is, you know, I would say on the spectrum, it's actually not as bad as something. It's not as quote unquote bad as the emotion of guilt or fear or shame, because anger actually it actually ignites a fire within us to take action. So in some ways, it's actually you're moving up the spectrum of frequency. But I just use it as an example. But let's just say that we walk around with a lot of guilt or shame based on things that we've done in our past, and in there, it's kind of buried within us. Right? We feel shameful. Maybe it's not consciously what we're experiencing every single day, but it is something that we, it is beneath the surface. The universe is going to reflect back to you this, right? It's going to bring you friends, jobs, and situations that make you feel unworthy. And so you're understanding where I'm going with this, right? So as we ascend the frequencies, as we move up in the vibrational, emotional spectrum, and we move up into emotions of love and compassion and patience and joy and excitement and gratitude, when we're moving into these emotions, we are raising our frequency, and our default mechanism is going to be that of that frequency, right? And so then the universe is going to reflect back to you these these let's just say it's love. It's going to reflect back more love, more joy, more ease, more flow. And obviously, we all want that, right? We don't want to be walking around feeling heavy emotions and anxiety and so on and so forth. So, getting right into, 5 simple ways to raise your frequency. Now, like I said, there are so many ways to do this, and I will say that healing is top notch. What people need to be focusing on is learning how to let go and heal. And this requires looking in the mirror. It requires not being in denial, and it requires not distracting yourself, because we are in a time of mass distraction. Our energy is being pulled in every which way, and our attention is being pulled every which way, right? So we have a phone at our fingertips. We have all kinds of things being shown to us all day, every day. So it's very important that you become highly conscious of where you're spending your energy and where your focus is going, because your focus is a currency. So, 5 ways. One first way that I think is fundamental in our raising our frequency, and this may sound very simple, but I'll do another video on this, so make sure you check out my other video. But drinking the right water, okay, is very, very important. And I'll do a video on what kinds of waters are good for us, but we are living in such a toxic society, right? Where we are infiltrated with pesticides, herbicides, PFAS, all the things, microplastics. It's crazy the amount of things that are in our water, that are in our food system, in our soil, in all the plastics that we're eating, right? So you're getting the point. It is everywhere. Now, when we know that we are about 70 to 80% water, okay, and our cells are made of water as well, and water is incredibly important for transporting nutrients into the cell and detoxifying your body. Okay, so we have to really make sure that we're buying the best filtration system and drinking the best water. And I personally only drink spring water and molecular hydrogen water from a very specific device, but I can talk about that another time. So, water is very important. When we are properly hydrated, our brain, our cells, our organs can detoxify the things that we are intaking. And therefore we will raise in frequency. We won't have all this density being carried within us. Okay, so very important to consume adequate amount of water so we can detoxify the blood, so we can reduce oxidative stress. Okay, that's one. The second thing that I have here is, a lot of people talk about in the spiritual field is meditation. I personally like to, yes, meditation is definitely going to raise your frequency. I quote meditate, but my way of meditating is just silence. Or sometimes I'll do like binaural beats or something like that. But meditation is really about sitting quietly with yourself and observing your thoughts, observing the mind. And you'll see that the mind has a really hard time chilling out. Like it has a hard time just relaxing because it jumps from one thing to the other, right? So when we meditate, we actually just immediately we start to raise in frequency. When we silence ourselves, when we silence our mind and the ego, our natural state of love starts to raise. So again, very important that we set aside time, specific time, like in your calendar, to be quiet, to sit with yourself. Whether you could go for a walk with no phone and go out into the woods and just listen. And what you'll find is at first, your mind wants to scream and yell and grab for something and say, this is boring and it's not fun, right? That's what initially may happen. And it'll maybe last for 30 seconds or something, right? With your mind being quiet. But as you practice, you're going to start to be able to be calm and to be present and to observe your thoughts and say, wow, I have a lot going on up there. There's a lot that, it just wants to jump from one thing to the next, right? So silencing the mind, quiet, going for nice walks, even exercise is a form of meditation if you can quiet the mind, if you're doing something that's quieting the mind. That is very important for raising your frequency. Meditation is why all, the greatest masters have always talked about meditation, is because you naturally let go of what's not you, which is the ego mind identity, and you're raising in frequency. And that is very liberating, and you'll start to see that you have less of these really heavy emotions. Okay, and I'll elaborate on that too in other videos. But number three, I have here resting, another form of meditation. But why I feel rest is so important and what I've received from rest is a whole new rejuvenation of who you are. When we rest and rest and rest some more, we actually are reprogramming in a lot of ways our bodies, okay, and our minds. And I'm not talking about those that rest because they're depressed. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm referring to those that are setting the intention to rest. And maybe you ask your guides or you ask angels, if that's your thing, to please help me, cleanse my body and come out feeling renewed after 15-minute nap or whatever it is. And you can set that intention before you rest, and you'll start to see over time that you just are starting to feel a lot better. You have a lot more energy and a lot more clarity, and you're letting go of the things that you used to be upset about that you're not upset about anymore. Right now, we are in such a time where we are being infiltrated with, you know, electronics and all these things, and resting from all of it is very, very important. Okay. Another one that I find very important is physical activity. So, getting up, being active, getting their heart rate up, doing some sort of physical activity that you enjoy. Now, this isn't something that like you are pushing yourself super hard to do and you like, you get hurt over it or anything like that. No, this is like just physically moving the body is very important for raising your vibration because energy needs to move, it needs to circulate. So when we stay stagnant because we're behind our computers all day long, our energy gets stagnant, and then we start to get depressed and we have all these low level emotions. The energy needs to expel and move, and when it does, you naturally will raise in frequency as well. Okay, so step outside your comfort zone. Maybe go find a new yoga class or a new some sort of new class, or join a club, or what have you. Move your body and watch your frequency start to raise. Make a practice of it. And it doesn't have to be for long. Like, you don't have to go and be an Olympic athlete, or go lift a bunch of weights if that's not your thing, although that is really good for you. Just start moving your body. Okay. And then last one, 5, it should be really 6, but for today, I will refer to music. Music is also very, very healing. Now, we have to put on the right music. Now, that's another video that I'll probably talk about it, but the music industry is a little dicey as we've known it thus far, okay? So we have to seek high frequency sounds, high frequency music. And if you go on YouTube, you can find high frequency sounds, high frequency music, because these higher frequencies are going to penetrate your cells as well. They're going to they actually clear the space. So in ancient times, they knew that. We knew that. That's why sound healing and sound baths are so important, because it literally revitalizes the body and revitalizes the cells, and it raises your frequency. It naturally raises your frequency. So I always have music playing throughout my house, high frequency music, especially if I'm feeling heavy or, sick or what have you. You got to have these high frequencies, because the angelics come in and they start to clear the energy, starts to clear the density that we are feeling. So music's very important, but please be very intentional about the music that you listen to, because music, it can also do the adverse. So if you're listening to low frequency music, right, which is pretty much the entire music industry, a lot of it, there's starting to be more conscious musicians, but a lot of it has to do with codependency and anger and frustration. It depends on the kind of music that you're listening to, but a lot of it is like meant to keep us very in the 3D. And there's a time and there's a place for it. Like, don't get me wrong, I do love some good country music, and I like to have a good time like that. So it's not to say you can't ever listen to different kinds of music, but just be very conscious of it, because it is programming you, and you are water. And so because you're water, music naturally programs water. Okay, so it's programming your cells. So that's 5 different ways to raise your frequency and vibration. And I'll probably expand on that in a different video. But yes, we are meant to grow, expand, and raise our frequency. Because when we raise our frequency, guys, everything starts to change. This is an energy game that we're playing here. This is not, let's try and fix the outside. Let's fix the inside, and everything external will start to reflect that. Okay? So feel free to follow me for more videos on spirituality, wellness, all the good things, and have a blessed day. Thank you.